Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to, I guess this is episode 3 of my draft to glory with the Kansas City Royals. We went 82 and 80 this year, coming off of a 73 and 89 first season. First few years are all about the development of the young talent, and I think it's coming along. From a major league roster perspective, Kyle Isbell. We'll just start at the top. I mean, Bobby Witt's obviously the main piece of our organization. I think ultimately he may end up at third base, but led the American League in WAR this year, led him in hits, was just unbelievable at age 24. Nick Pratto, the development came on midway through the season, and he hit almost 30 home runs in 127 games. So that'll give us a nice power bat in the lineup. We had 4 players hit at least 25 home runs. Don't expect more of the same out of Sal Perez as we go forward. If we get 26 and 72 out of him, great, but I don't suspect that's going to happen. MJ Melendez took a bit of a step backwards, for sure. The offense wasn't nearly as good as it was the previous season, but still hit almost 30 home runs, drove in 90 runs. He's still a captain, so that's fine. Nicky Lopez may have more value to another team than he has to us at the moment. Not that we have another second base option currently, but Michael Massey was our DH for most of the season and is passable, but also replaceable. Jose Siri was a Rule 5 guy who came on and played some very good center field defense for us. Can't hit, but we know what we're getting out of Jose Siri. Vinny Pasquantino was hurt part of the year. I was more optimistic about him last year than I am this upcoming season, because he can't field, and as a DH, I don't think he hits for enough power. So we'll see where it goes from there. Luca Tresh, we called up, played mostly DH, but hit pretty well. And a lot of this stuff I've already gone through, so I don't want to go through it all again because you guys just saw it if you're watching back-to-back episodes. But Kyle Isbell wasn't particularly good this past season. We moved him to left where he was very good defensively, which sort of saved his season for us. But we definitely need more out of him next season. Probably move him down in the lineup. Pitching-wise, it's a mess, so I'm not really going to spend any time here. I mean, maybe Jackson Kowar is a back-of-the-rotation guy when we're successful. Battenfield and Killian were both Rule 5 guys. Went 15 and 22 between the two of them. A couple of decent bullpen arms. We have Jose Ferrer, who has developed really nicely as a reliever. May actually try to make him a starter given what he's done in some of the other Let's Plays that I've done. He seems to develop everywhere. So maybe we make him a starter next season and see how that development goes. So we have a couple of decent bullpen. Carlos Hernandez has had a really good year. But it's really all about the youngsters. Where am I going here? So if we go to our pipeline. Frank Lara was a Rule 5 guy, was an international guy last season, I should say. These guys, they're even as elite as they look, they're always hit or miss, so who really knows? But he's our top prospect right now. Andre Madugno was our top pick this past year, 6th overall. I don't know that he'll stick at 3rd, but that bat will play anywhere, obviously. Sarantola. He's developed really nicely here over the last couple of years, pitched really well in AAA. He's probably in the big league rotation next year. Same thing with Kurdna. Put him at the back of the rotation. Hurston Waldrep isn't quite there yet. Oops. He struggled this year in A-ball. We probably call him up to high A next year just because he's 22, but we got to see that control improve. If he can be 60-60-40, that's passable. But we need that control to be better. Cameron Johnson was another first-year draft guy. We got him in 2023 in the 2nd round. He struggled a bit, but the high work ethic and intelligence, I'm hopeful here. And then Christian Little. We drafted him in the 3rd round, and he's developing quite nicely. Still a couple years away. Probably starts in high A-ball next year. Probably starts in high A-ball next season, but that's that. Off season has started, so we got to take care of arbitration. I don't think we have to sign any coaches. Where are we going? Oh, we do have to sign a coach. We have to sign a head coach. A manager in Triple A. Okay. Manager. Alan Biggers. Cool. Yeah, so arbitration. And we don't have any money, but that's, I mean, we don't need it for anything. It's not a big deal. Chris Bubich wants $3 million. We'll offer him $3 million. Where it's going to be an issue is if we want to try offering long-term contracts to people, because if we don't have money next year, we won't be able to offer either. Brady Singer wants 6.7. He's not in the mood to discuss. So let's drop this down a little bit. Let's do 6.6. Daniel Lynch was really bad. Does anybody want him? Can we sell him? So let's do this. Let's remove Miranda and put in 250,000. $150,000. He's got to be worth at least $150K, isn't he? Nope, $100K. See, this is the problem with trading for, and I can't trade for international. I don't know why I can't trade for closed until signing period begins. So we have to wait until, okay, I guess I should have just read, right? All right, well, we're not going to trade anybody for cash. We're just going to sign all of our arbitration offers. It's fine. He's not interested in discussing either. Josh Staumont. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Carlos Hernandez at 4, I guess. Nicky Lopez at 6'6", 6'4". I want to see if we can sign Witt long term. Isbell wants 1.7, so let's offer him 1.6. 6.25. That's not a 1. There we go. And that's a weird number for MJ. But we can make that work. 2.825. All right. And then Bobby Witt wants 8. So can we give him 8 years? If we do 8. $8, 17.5. 25. Is that enough? What if we do that with like an opt-out after year 5? He's not eager to sacrifice his free agent years, but for 37.5 he would do it. Can we? I mean, I'm not. Yeah, that's so much money. All right, let's hold off for now. Let's just offer him 8 for now. That's so much money. All right, let's sim ahead and see if we got any awards. All right, so fans like Hernandez, they like Melendez coming back, they like Bobby Witt. What does that do for our fan interest? It's up to, all the way up to a 50. Let's go. I don't know how we're gonna make that better. Isbell agrees. I don't know how we're gonna get that number up other than by winning games. Gold Gloves. Nicky Lopez wins it at second base. Reliever of the year goes to Andres Munoz. There's Hernandez finishing fifth. Bobby Witt wins the Platinum Stick. Rookie of the year goes to Jesus Verrue. Jesus Verut. Is it Verut? I don't know what it is. In the National League, it's Vaughn Brown. Manager of the year in the AL, Dusty Baker and Jamar Hill of the Atlanta Braves. Cy Young in the American League's Dylan Cease. In the NL, it is Spencer Strider. And Mike Trout and Austin Riley are your MVPs. All right, let's get through arbitration. All right, so we won both of our ARB cases, so that's good. Saves us a tiny bit of money. International Amateurs. Holy hell. His nickname is the Great King. Well, yeah, I can see that. Free agents that we can't do anything with. Let's get up to the Rule 5. So we'll get through the Rule 5 and then I'll sim up to international. Stop. I forgot to run practice. Yeah, I went through and I brought some people in, and there was, I think, where's the catcher? Wasn't there a catcher, or am I thinking of a different league? Must be thinking of a different league. I have too many leagues going on right now. I can't keep them all straight. But there are some decent names here. Rule 5. Braves beat the White Sox in the 2024 World Series. Rule 5. Anybody need to go on the 40-man? Gentry needs to go on the 40-man roster's full. All right. So we can Ellis, Biasi, Alcantara, Veneziano, Parrish, Nunez. I mean, these are all garbage relievers. Well, maybe not Nunez. His ratings don't look terrible. Let's start with that. Gentry, Jensen, Diaz, Hernandez. And I can't imagine that all those players would have been taken. That may have been a mistake, but we may need to go in and we're picking 13th. We may need to go in and remove some additional players. Clayton Andrews. Why is he listed as a batter? All right, what do we got for relievers? I'd say Morel looks okay. 4 good pitches on Mayberry. Carlos Duran. Oh, excuse me. Just got off of a bike ride, so I'm pretty sore and pretty tired. So the real life Mason Miller has gone off to a super hot start for Oakland. This Mason Miller, not so much. Alexander Corniel. Killer slider. That's about it. I can't believe for a second that there isn't a player on here that would make my team better. Harry Ford of the Team Great Britain fame. in the 2023 World Baseball Classic. Petey Halpin is a, I don't say slap hitting outfielder, but that's what he is. We don't really need. I mean, our offense is not in terrible shape. It's really our pitching that's not great. But Clayton Andrews is 27. Yeah, I think we just need more pitchers. If we can, yeah, I think we just need more pitchers. We just need relievers. So let's take a couple of relievers and call it an afternoon. Any of them have... I'm looking for high work ethic guys, as always. Clayton Andrews actually looks pretty damn good. He might be the guy. Hayden Junger. There we go. Maybe we take Junger. Clayton Andrews. I can't. I gotta wave somebody. That's fine. Wave. Back into the Rule 5. Let's take Clayton Andrews. Although he's 27, which isn't terrible, but I would prefer somebody younger. Kind of grow with the team, right? Gobias, 28. Mike Burrows. I mean, he could be a starter. Not a bad option. DL Hall. Man, that control's bad. Whoa. Lane Henderson. I think we'll take him. He looks okay. Chandler Joswiak is another one I want to look at. Yep. Yeah, just build our bullpen with Rule 5 guys. I mean, why not? They're better than what we're throwing out there. Seth Lonsway, extreme ground ball. Yep. Zach Pop is another extreme ground ball guy. Ryan Watson. Christopher Sanchez. Is this the Angels guy? Yeah, it is. He's not bad either. We're just going to raid the coffers here. Down to 45 overall, so some of these guys aren't going to be quite as good, but that's okay. Still better than what we're throwing out there. Thinking maybe one more. Grab one more. Kyle Hurt. Yeah, that works for me. Control's not great, but 3 good pitches. Ground ball pitcher. Grab ourselves a starter. Sure. Cool. So we just grabbed like 5 new pitchers. Rebuild our bullpen using the Rule 5. I am happy with that. I'm going to sim up to International Amateurs. I will be back in a minute. All right, guys. We are back at the Rule for International Amateurs, and I have a problem. Problem is, I didn't set any money for... Can I take it out of my draft budget? Being over budget, the development budget is limited to half the league baseline. So if we take half of this, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. But that should, okay, that puts us in a position where we've got some money. So I can move money around, as they say. So I'll take this down to 27.5. Put this at 6.7. That leaves us with what? 1.3. Okay. Which we're going to have to put back into scouting. Or we're going to have to put back into the draft budget, but we can do that. Hopefully we get a fan interest bump or a budget increase once we get to the preseason. So if we go to international amateurs now we should have $6.7 million, which we do. We have more than any other team because we made a trade. I forgot to just tell you that. I traded Josh Staumont and Caleb Killian for $1 million of IAFA money. Yeah, I mean, I think we go here with Ramirez. He wants 1.9. So let's just offer him 4 right off the bat and see if that's enough to sign him. And then that leaves us with 2.7. Nope. All right. So they're already up to 6. All right. So it looks like we're putting all of our eggs into the Andres Ramirez basket. It's probably a 3-pitch pitcher. Changeup probably never develops, but yeah, high adaptability, high intelligence. I mean, he's a good pitcher, and we could always trade for more IAFA money if we needed it. All right, so we got him. So we don't have any money left, but we can probably trade for more if there's somebody else that we really want. Like Francis Medina is somebody I wouldn't mind, but we'd probably need another $2 million just knowing how the cap works. And somebody had suggested that I offer players who have only 2 pitches, like Sergio Lizarraga, and convert them into relievers. That's not a terrible idea if you can't improve your bullpen via the Rule 5. So we'll continue to work on that for the time being. But yeah, I think we're just good with Ramirez. So let's get up to the preseason, see if we get a bump to our budget given the increase in people coming out. We did. It was a small bump, but it was a bump. So we have $9 million now that we can put back into this. We can take this back down to 5.7. And we're not over budget. All right. Yeah, I would like to keep development up, but I think it's as important that we balance that. How do we pick up, how do we pick up talent? How do we pick up prospects, right? All right, now I'm going to sim ahead now to opening day. I'll come back and we'll set the roster and we'll just start simming. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, another quick segment here as we are at opening day. So we'll set the roster and I'll get to simming. We did get in our player development report and some good development from some younger players, which is nice. Ben Hernandez continues to get better. He'll start probably in high A ball, maybe double A, probably double A with those ratings. Carter Jensen continues to get better. He'll start probably in double A as well. Again, I don't think he's ever going to hit enough. Well, I mean, the defensive ratings aren't terrible. I mean, he could be a backup catcher / DH type, maybe play a little bit of first base or left. So it's not terrible. He's getting better. Ben Kurdna continues to get better. He's probably going to start in AAA since he hasn't pitched there yet. Tarantola, same deal with him. He'll probably... Oh, the ratings are getting really good. He'll probably start in AAA, see if we can get that stuff up to 65 or 70 before we call him up. I also don't want to start that clock until I have to. On the negative, Hurston Waldrep continues to get worse, which is a damn shame. The ratings are going the wrong direction, but he's still young, so we'll give it time. The other side of the coin, though, Christian Little just continues to get better. Our third-round pick in 2023, up to a 50 potential, high work ethic, 3+ pitches, continues to look really solid. Shane Panzini's getting a little bit better. He's still back of the rotation guy, but he's getting better. Will Klein saw a nice bump in his stuff and his movement. He's an A-ball right now. Let's start him in Double A. The control is increasing too. Ground ball pitcher, 98 to 100. Dig that. If that control can end up at a 40, he becomes a really important bullpen arm. We got a lot of young players who continue to get better, which is good. So we have 37 players on our roster, 18 pitchers. Heasley's hurt, and we can just go ahead and do that. So we have 70. We got to send 4 pitchers to the minors, huh? All right. Pitching ratings. Pitching. What am I doing? Pitching ratings. Hernandez, like I said, will start in Double A. Lynch, Marsh can both go away. So we got to send 1 more pitcher down. Bolin. Can we? I think we DFA him and then maybe try to trade him for IAFA. Can we trade him for IAFA money yet, or are we outside of the signing? Are we considered outside of the signing? I think we're outside of the signing period, right? I don't know when that ends. Yeah, we're outside of it. So we'll just DFA him. All right, so that leaves us at 32, which means we have to send 5 batters to the minors. Carter Jensen will go to Double A. Clay Dungan will go to Triple A. Both of these guys will go to Triple A. What does that leave us with? 28. We still got to send 2 more down. All right. Eaton. And the question now becomes, do I want to go with Freddie Fermin as my backup catcher, which I don't think I do. I think I'd rather go Luca Tresh at this point. He's a better bat. The defense isn't that much worse. So that will be our team, I guess. I put Ferrer and Lonsway in the rotation, and neither of them pitched well during preseason. Or spring training. I just kind of wanted to see what we would get. So I think Ferrer can go back. I'm fine leaving Lonsway there with the 55 stuff, 75 movement, 4+ pitches. I think he'll ultimately be fine. But Ferrer, I think, probably better served in the bullpen, which is much better now than it was a year ago. I'm still getting used to using my new monitor with my laptop. So like I'm looking, I try to type and like I'll look at my monitor and I'll put my fingers all in the wrong spot. All right, so Brady Singer will be our opening day starter. What did I just do? Brady Singer will be our opening day starter. Highest rested. All right. So from a bullpen perspective, let's clear it. Who do we want as our closer? Chandler Joswiak, I think we want as a middle reliever used more often. He's neutral, so we will have Ferrer as long relief / middle relief. Joswiak's middle role, secondary role can be long relief as well. I think I want. Do I want a 4-pitch pitcher as my closer? I don't think I do. I think we just stick with what worked last year. Have Hernandez as our closer. We'll have Henderson as middle relief, used more often as well. Because our rotation's terrible. So we go with a bullpen that is somewhat decent. So Zerpa will be long relief, emergency starting pitcher. Kyle Hurt, same deal, long relief, emergency starting pitcher. And then Diaz and Junger will be middle relief, just sort of regular use, as it were. So we got a good mixture of lefties and righties. And this allows us to continue to develop Sarantola and Kurdna, who will both be in the rotation probably next year. We got a couple more I would rather have Hernandez as a starter, though. Let him develop there, and then hopefully Waldrop can develop, but we got Little on the way and stuff, so. All right, and then lineup-wise. So during spring training, the game put Bobby Witt at third base, which I am totally okay with. It put Mikhail Garcia in as the everyday second baseman, which I'm also okay with, and it moved Nicky Lopez over to short. So that's kind of how our team is going to be built, I think. So Bobby Witt's our number 3 hitter. MJ Melendez is our number 4. Nick Pratto is our number 2. I mean, can we go? I don't think we can go with Isbell as our leadoff hitter again this year. Yeah, the game wanted to put Mikhail Garcia in there as our leadoff hitter. Against lefties, I'm okay with that. Not necessarily against righties. Do we go Pasquantino? That might be interesting. 55 I, 65 avoid K. Let's try Vinny Pasquantino at DH as our leadoff hitter. Let's see how that works out. Sal Perez will bat 5th and be our catcher. So we need second, short, left, and center. Second, so Mikhail Garcia. No, we'll go Isbell here in left. Then we'll go Garcia. Then we'll go Jose Siri, and then Nicky Lopez. And what does it want to do there? It's Massey some playing time. Garcia at first, which is a little weird, but that's okay. Copy the lineup. Let's paste it into here. I am recording, right? Let me hang on a second. Am I recording? Am I getting audio? I am, yeah. It's just fairly quiet because the mic is a little bit further away from me than what I'm used to. So, do we want to change? I don't want Pasquantino batting leadoff against lefties, although he still has the 55 I and 65 avoid K, but I think we do this. Too many lefties in the lineup. Can Tresh play left? Luka Tresh can play left, so I think what we're going to do is this. I think what we're going to do is this. Gets us an extra bat out there. And then Siri can come in as that defensive replacement. Yeah, Siri will go to center. Isbell will potentially go to left. Let's get to opening. It wasn't a good spring training for us. You can see we were 5-18 and 5. So I'm going to go ahead and sim up to the draft. And we will do a said draft. And then that will be that. All right, so season expectations, respectable on the field, top 100 prospects. We have number 3. And that is it. Where does our minor league system stand? Second, Lara. We've got Andres Ramirez, who we signed. Madugno's 35th. How do his numbers look? Nothing has dropped yet. So we're okay there. Maltman, who was signed. It's a scouting discovery. You like to see those random scouting discoveries. And then Diego Guzman, who's not a shortstop with those ratings, so we will make him a second baseman with those ratings. And we will stop doing that. We will disable his promotion. He's in A-ball right now. I guess. So, all right, that's good. Second best prospect in the game. Again, Lara, Ramirez, they're both in international ball, so who knows? But we will see. So there's our roster. I think, year 3 is going to be, I don't know. I mean, I think our pitching staff is terrible. I think our bullpen is much better than it was last season, so I think that will help, especially if we lean heavily on it. Our offense, I think, is good enough. At least 1 through 5. Bottom of the lineup's not particularly good. We have no money. Hopefully we can play well, get people to come out, and we can reinvest back into the important things. So I will be back on July 11th for the first year player draft. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back, and it is draft day, and we're 40 and 48, so we're not playing all that well right now. But we've seen some really good stuff from some of our young players, some of our Rule 5 guys, and frankly, some of our prospects. From a big league perspective, which isn't as important, right? I mean, what Bobby Witt is doing is important, and he's having an okay year. I mean, he's on pace for 5 WAR, which is really, really good. His fielding ratings have already started to dip, so he's been at third base most of the year, as we talked about. MJ Melendez having a nice bounce back season after struggles last season, putting up a 893 OPS on pace for 35 home runs. Kyle Isbell has had a nice bounce back year as well. Nick Pratto struggling a bit, that average at 220. The contact did dip, so he's struggling contact-wise. Vinny Pasquantino is the leadoff hitter. It's weird, but it's sort of working with a 340 on-base percentage. Nicky Lopez isn't hitting. Yeah, our offense has been bad. Luca Tresh has been terrible. We lost Sal Perez for the season with a torn knee ligament, so he's done. So our catching situation is challenging, to say the least, right now. We've got Luca Tresh and Freddie Fermin, and then we've got MJ Melendez, who can play as well. So, yeah, our offense has not been good. Pitching, on the other hand, some of the numbers don't look great, but some of the numbers look like players who can be here for us when we are a competitive team. Brady Singer's had a nice bounce back year. He's on pace for 3.1 WAR, league average, but 3 WAR, 180 innings. I'll take it. Seth Lonsway's been terrific. He's our number 5 guy, but he's 6-6 with a 308, exactly 9 strikeouts per 9. He's been terrific. Been really, really good. Chris Bubich has been okay. Kowar, Battenfield have all been meh, whatever. But Joswiak, Junger, Hernandez were all Rule 5 guys, and they've all been really good. We moved Junger into the closer's role, and he's picked up 16 saves, and he has an ERA of 2.5. He's been fantastic. Jose Ferrer had another bump in his ratings, so we may try him as a starter again next off season or next spring training. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to get him pitching more. So maybe, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. Let's make him a starter. 50, 65. Yeah, let's just make him a starter and see how it goes. Maybe we can continue to get that growth with him in the starter role. Battenfield doesn't really have a future with us, right? He was a Rule 5 guy a year ago. Speaking of a future, Kurdna, 6-5, 4.68 in AAA. He's been fine. He'll be in the rotation next year. Sarantola, 2-2, 3.49. He'll be in the rotation next year as well. Will Klein down in AAA. 41 strikeouts in 28 innings. We'll let him stay. He wants to be in the majors, which I get. So let's see. Let's bump him up to AAA and see how he does. Carter Jensen, 23 home runs already in AA. Would like to see that average a bit higher, so we'll leave him where he is. Christian Little's movement stalled at a 45, but he was really good in high A, so I called him up to AA. He might be with the big club next year. In reality, Ben Hernandez, we'll leave him in AA for now. Shane Panzini is doing really well in high A ball. Shane Waldrop, quite well, honestly, in high A ball. We're gonna take our time with him. He's still, if again 60-40. That's a passable pitcher, passable big league starter. So we'll see. Mozzicato seems to have stalled a bit, but the most exciting news of the sim so far has been that of Diego Guzman, who was a shortstop in our system, and over the course of this season, look at his overall potential. It is increasing. I made him a second baseman, and he is now the number 6 prospect in the game. Just an impact bat at second base. You love to see that. Madugno's still sitting at an 80. The ratings are still right where they need to be. He's actually hitting really well. So if that keeps up, maybe he gets the call up to A-ball. I don't really want to rush him. Charles, we can probably call up. Cameron Johnson, still waiting for that change to develop, man. I need to see that change develop before I can start to think about moving him up. And that's really it. Lara and Ramirez are still holding strong. Maltman's fine. So lot of a lot of high potential prospects in our minor league system. But now it's time for the draft, where we are picking 16th. We were 13th. We dropped to 16th. That's not great. But this, I believe, is the last bad draft per se. I believe we start getting almost entirely fictional players beyond this draft. So let's see what's available for us at 16. We got Justice DeJong, Xavier Nayans, that's kind of oof. Landon Schaefer's not a shortstop, and he wants like $8 million. Oh, speaking of that, I know I put money back into my Yeah, this is not a good draft. Maybe we just go high ceiling, low floor, or high floor, low ceiling with someone like Murphy Brooks. I mean, already 35. I mean, that's not terrible. And maybe we can follow it up with a Boston Kellner. Or Kozar wants $12 million. Wow, come on, man. Cam, and I think we're going to go Murphy Brooks. He's not great, but, I mean, that's a good middle of the rotation starter if he develops like that. So we're going to take Murphy Brooks out of TCU with our first pick. Followed up with a Boston Kellner in the second round. What do the batting ratings look like? They're okay. I've never seen him develop, though. Like, that's the fear. Like, I take him, and I take somebody who's just not going to develop. It just doesn't happen. Go after Caminiti and immediately make him an infielder. Let's go back to batters. Anything? Luke Billings, low work ethic. Yeah, this is the really bad draft. So I think we're just going to take runs at the players that we know and hope that they develop. I guess that's all we're going to do. Kellner's still there, so we'll take him. All right. And now let's start looking at Adonis Guzman, 100%. Yep, we need a catcher. We need multiple catchers. I think we may go right after Brady Neal with the next pick. Again, not great, but better than anything we have in our system right now, right? So, outfield range, even the rangy infielders and outfielders, there's just nothing here. The third draft is a bad one. So this is really where you lean on your scouting and development, or your development rather, to try to come through for you. No knuckleballers. Parker Johnson with the but he's a punk. Tyler Dean, no. Trip Banta, high work ethic, but he's 23 already. Xavier Cardenas, we'll take Xavier. He's somebody I like to take. I've seen him develop. He's developed in one of my offline leagues, or one of my online leagues, rather. Ryan Fry. Take Todd Neebe because of the high work ethic. And the 75. Oh, wait, was the changeup? Oh, yeah, his changeup's already almost fully developed. What do we got? Connor Poti, or Pote. He's 21. Looks okay. Yeah, I don't want to get too hung up because there's just not a lot here. Let's go back to batting potential, all players. Batting potential, all players. So what do we got? We got Malcolm Moore. Yeah, he looks okay. 55 catcher is still better than what we're throwing out there. Jared Jones, probably make him a first baseman. Sure. Dylan Adkins. Yep, he's another one we should take. Another one of those two-way guys. Mason Guerra. Meh. I mean, you take a player like this for what reason? I mean, I guess it doesn't cost us anything, right, at this point? Fielding ratings, and let's add in, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's add in, personality. Where is it? Work ethic. Work ethic, adaptability, and intelligence we'll add in. See if we can find any keepers. So let's look at high work ethic. I don't know why I'm looking at it from this screen. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's look at batting potential, and all players, and here we will add in work ethic, intelligence, and adaptability. What do we got? Like nothing. Jorge Cartagena, excuse me. Sure. I really should make these offline and save them. In fact, we will. Let's go to pitching potential. We will save that. We will go to customize, and we will go to work ethic, adaptability, and intelligence. Sure, Andrew Benke. Let's make one more pick, and then we'll let the AI finish it up. Trip Banta, sure. High adaptability, high work ethic, and that will complete the draft for us. Yeah, the third draft is just a bad one. I think once we get to next year's draft, I can spend a lot more time on it, sit and actually, have those, have the work ethic and adaptability, kind of have all those saved and go. And go each pick and make sure we're picking the right players. I don't think Murphy Brooks is a terrible pick, though. Honestly, given what this draft has, I don't think that's a terrible pick. Now, there were players that were significantly better. Like, I would have loved to have... who was it that I was looking at? Necker was somebody that I would have liked. We have him in our Cubs save. There was a shortstop, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Victor Rodriguez was the top pick. That's terrible. Cooper Holbrook, that's terrible. Mike Irish is okay. Rutgers, really, I would say the first really good pick, and he's not a shortstop. Ethan Holiday looks pretty good. Will Taylor, we've taken in other drafts. He doesn't develop, but he looks okay here. So that's it for the draft. So now it's just a matter of me simming to the end of the regular season. So I will be back at the end of the season with a recap. So wish us luck. Here we go. All right, guys, we're back. And I apologize for all of the external noise. My new computer, the fan on it is really, really noisy. So I'm trying to shift everything around and kind of limit that. So I'm still trying to figure out what the best setup is for me now with my laptop and this monitor and my work laptop, which is sitting next to it. So I'm working on it. I apologize if it's distracting, but I am working on it. So at any rate, Season's over. We finished 72 and 90, so it was a step backwards from last season, at least from a record perspective. We were 5 games over our Pythag last year, so to be fair, we probably weren't an 80 and 82 team. But so we finished 72 and 90. Again, there's some good that we can pull out of this season from a development standpoint. There's some bad, and we learned some things. So from a hitting perspective, Bobby Witt, another really good year for WAR, another 2020 season. Obviously not as good as he was last season, but if you can give us four wins a year, I will take it. Kyle Isbell bounced back. He had a great year for us. Almost 4 WAR himself, hit 310, was second in the American League in hitting. I don't suspect that he's a 310 hitter, just like I don't suspect that he's a 204 hitter. So hopefully he lands somewhere in between there. Carter Jensen, why is it scoped to everything? MJ Melendez, 29 home runs, 94 knocked in. That average dipped a lot over the second half of the season, but I mean, this is what he is. I mean, he's going to give us a 230, 240, 250 batting average with 30 home runs and close to 100 RBIs. I'll take it. Nicky Lopez is probably done in Kansas City. Yep. Well, we can't bring him back even if we wanted to. So, his first season with us was good. His last season, his bat didn't justify his glove in the field. So I don't think he'll necessarily be missed. Jose Siri, his second year with us was better than the first from an offensive perspective, and he's still very good in the outfield. So it's a viable option for us. Tyler Gentry came up midway through the season, and I mean, he was fine, I guess. I mean, it wasn't great, but we take what we can get at this point. Pasquantino had a nice year in the leadoff spot, honestly, a 350 on base percentage. I mean, he's not a leadoff hitter, and the reality is that he's not that good. I mean, he's eminently replaceable at first base, potentially by Carter Jensen, who came up at roster expansion, hit 280, it was 773 OPS, and the ratings are still coming along there. Miguel Garcia's first full season in the field was not all that good. So finding an alternate at really both of our middle infield positions is going to be something we need to think about as we go forward. Nick Pratto really struggled in his second season, 201 batting average. So the ratings were kind of up and down for Nick. We got this bump here last year, and I got excited, and we lost the majority of it within a year. So we'll see what we get out of Pratto. Luca Tresh was awful. Man, he was awful. His catcher ratings dipped. He hit $190. I don't know that he's a viable option, but I don't know what other options we have. I mean, maybe Carter Jensen becomes our starting catcher next year by default. I don't really know. Pitching, and this is where I say we got some good and we learned some stuff. And the good that we got was Seth Lonsway. Picked him up in the Rule 5 last season. All he did was put up a 12-7, 2.75 ERA, 151 ERA plus, 3.1 WAR. We found ourselves our first, I think, legit starter. Carlos Hernandez, another really good season. We moved him out of the closer's role because he was struggling there, but he was great. Brady Singer was okay. Hayden Junger, his first year with us, 31 saves, 2.39 ERA. He was really good as well. So, yeah, we did a nice job building our bullpen. Jose Ferrer, not a starter. And that's fine. That's kind of what we wanted to glean out. So moving back to the pen, I don't think we're going to get the same Jose Ferrer that we saw in our Cubs playthrough, but that's a really good reliever there. Lane Henderson, another Rule 5 guy, was fine. Not particularly good, but fine with the 4+ pitches. And Joe Zwiak led the American League in appearances, 86 appearances, pitched 107 innings. So we did a nice job building our lineup, or building our bullpen. We just need to focus on our rotation, which I think is going to see an influx of talent next season. Bed Kerna was 13-10 with a 4.33 in AAA, more than a strikeout an inning. He is ready to go. Same thing with Eric Sarantola. He got hurt part of the year, so he didn't pitch all that much, but he is ready to go as well. Anybody else in AAA? We probably call up Gavin Cross next year just because we need another bat, and he hit really well in AAA. I think that's it in AAA. AA, Christian Little. He probably starts in AAA next year. but is probably up before too long. Same thing with Ben Hernandez, probably starts in AAA and is up before too long. Jose Catano, looks all right. Single A. We had some development from some single A for some relievers that were in the DSL, like this guy, Eslahiber Mendez, 21 years old. I got to put him on the 40-man next year, but yeah, look at his numbers last season between A ball and high A ball. I mean, that's a 1.78 ERA in 35 innings. He probably starts in Double A. Shane Panzini is probably depth, but it's better depth than what we've been dealing with. Then we get our first catcher, which is Adonis Guzman, who we drafted last season. High work ethic. I mean, all the personality traits you look for. Good catcher ability. Cannon for an arm. I just want to take it slow with him because we need, or we're going to need help behind the plate. And because of all that other pitching growth that we've had, the struggles of Hurston Waldrep haven't really hurt us that much. That being said, he was good in high A ball. Probably move him up to Double A next year, see if we can get any future development out of him. Diego Guzman continues to grow. He didn't hit all that well, so he probably will repeat A ball, but he's now the number 3 prospect in baseball. Those ratings continue to go the right direction. Murphy Brooks was our top pick last season. He's the number 65 prospect in the game. Made a couple of starts in rookie ball before getting hurt. Yeah, got a knuckle curve, so it's more pitching depth for us. Charles, I don't know why he's rated as a 55. He's good defensively, but he can't really hit. Augusto Mendieta is another one of those DSL guys who just sort of blossomed. He didn't pitch particularly well in A ball, but those ratings are really good. So he'll probably start in high A ball. Chaz Martinez is another one who has developed. If we go to our rookie league team, Madugno, I think is ready. He hit really well in rookie ball a year ago. Boston Kellner pitched pretty well. He is set as a 2-way guy, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he looks okay. If those ratings are legit, I mean, he's got the personality traits. Cameron Johnson, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. The changeup still hasn't developed. He really hasn't developed much. He's been in our system for 3 years now. Hasn't really developed at all. Henry Allen hit pretty well. Nye was that big bonus guy that we took a couple of years ago, and he's been terrible, so that's not encouraging. And then our three international guys, Lara, Maltman, and Ramirez, are all hanging around with those 70 ratings. Hopefully they maintain. So, yeah, so again, really good development. I think year 4 is that first year that I can make the argument that we might be a 500 team if our rotation is Singer, Lonsway, Kurdna, Sarantola, and maybe midway through the year, Little. I think that's clearly a better rotation than anything else we've thrown out there. Our bullpen is good. We'll continue to make improvements in the Rule 5. But that is for the next episode. So that's going to do it, guys. We're through year 3. Bit of a step backwards from a record perspective, but that's fine. That means we'll have a high draft pick in the first draft that isn't all real players or the majority real players. So we should be able to get ourselves a pretty solid talent at the top of the draft. So, yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.